Yes? What's up? Ma'am? Okay. Hello, and welcome to my channel. I'm Mandi Grace, author of 10 young adult novels so far. Welcome to the homeschool convention vlog. I go to a convention every year and sell my books, and there's typically a vlog that accompanies it, depending on how much I feel like filming. There's varying levels of footage on said vlogs. But yeah, I do film. This one could be interesting because I have never found my batteries, which you don't really know about that saga because I haven't edited and uploaded and published any of April's writing experiences. Ma'am? What do you want? Okay, I love you too. Anyway, but the point is, I can't find the extra batteries, or more specifically, the charger. So when this battery dies, we're out of luck. So, we'll see how this goes. But I am headed to a conference tomorrow and Saturday. We'll be selling books. Yep.
Because I heard names for sure, but I knew they were too young.
Hello, friends. I didn't vlog this weekend. On Friday, I ended up leaving my camera at my sister's house, so I completely forgot about it. And then on Saturday, I took my camera to the convention, but I think I picked it up like one time when I was like, oh, I haven't filmed anything or taken any photos. And that was towards the end. So, sorry, didn't get to see anything. Memorable moments. Let me think back over this weekend. Obviously, sitting and talking to people is a little bit, hi Fury, nerve-wracking. You know, there's some anxiety there, like talking, hello, hi. But actually it was really good. I really enjoyed this weekend. We got a lot of traction at the table. I go to this basically every year. We missed 2020, and I think 21, you know, for obvious reasons. But other than that, I've been going since 2018. This was the busiest year yet in terms of my table. Not like the size of the conference, but the amount of people coming to talk to me about my books. I think a large part of that is the new covers that I got at the end of 2022. So last year they were at my table, and then this year they were at my table. Yeah, the new covers for the Robin Hood really draw people over. They'll be walking across, you know, the aisle in the vendor hall on the other side and like look over and be like, well, those look interesting, and then come over to the table. So thanks, Mandi, you did some great covers. Yeah, and I think once I get the trilogy republished with the fancy new covers, they'll do the same thing. It was kind of funny this weekend because I had the 7 Robin Hoods with Mandi's amazing covers, right, filling most of the table. And then off in this one little corner was the dystopian trilogy with the old CreateSpace, like, horrors that I put together, you know, when I was like 20 or whatever it was. And it, like, people were drawn to this side of the table where the Robin Hoods were, and like no one's eyes even glanced over at the dystopian trilogy. And then I would say, like, they'd ask what the Robin Hoods were about, and they looked really interesting, and are they like this book or that book or whatever, you know, and we talk about it. And then I'd be like, and I also have this dystopian trilogy, and they just kind of like glance over and be like, these look really interesting though, which was highly entertaining. So I'm curious to see if that's the same next year, when I have the new covers on the trilogy. Just see if people are still like, dystopian, not really my thing, or if it really was just the covers that they were like, well, that doesn't look great. Anyway, I was trying to think, there was something that happened on Friday. Like some conversation that happened on Friday that I wanted to film, but I didn't have my camera with me. And I was going to try and remember it, but now it's been 2 days. Kitten, why would you do that? That was so unnecessary. You're lucky I wasn't balancing the camera on that this time. I remember people were asking if it was anything like the Wing Feather Saga, which is really not, because it's not fantasy. Robin Hood is not fantasy. Once I have Messiah's story, I might be able to be like, comp title. But I remember people commenting about I think the Ranger's Apprentice was what they called it. It looked like that. I haven't read that, so I have no idea if it's really a comp title, but what was it? Ah, yeah, okay, so it's a Robin Hood story, right? And this convention, it's a homeschool convention, so there's a lot of, like, curriculum and things for homeschool parents, and then a variety of book places, because, you know, we like reading. And anyway, the point is, a lot of the people there are conservative Christians, and which, you know, I am too, so it's not a big deal, but some of the conversations are very entertaining, because the level of, I don't know, just like where our philosophies and values are, it gets entertaining. But there was one gal who was looking at my books, and like she was talking about how she is always looking for, you know, clean, safe books for her kids to read, and her boys, you know, want to read adventure stories or whatever, but a lot of the secular ones were not, you know, what she deemed safe for her kids. It was a, you know, interesting conversation. It was fine. But at one when I said that my books were a retelling of the Robin Hood series, it really gave her pause. And she was like, okay, well, you're going to have to tell me more about this. But like, are we glorifying, you know, like evil behavior with like thievery and like all this stuff? And I was just like a deer in headlights. Like, no? I mean, valid question, ma'am. I don't think I'm glorifying bad behavior. These people are specifically fighting tyranny, you know. So I feel like there's a gray area here. I don't know. Yeah. I don't really remember how I responded to her necessarily, but yeah. I'm not trying to glorify bad behavior. Sorry? Go read something else. I also found it amusing because my books are Christian fiction, and so it does glorify Jesus. So there's a lot of like forgiveness and redemption and, you know, hope and second chances and like, I would say really great messages in my Robin Hood series. But yeah. There is also thievery, so read with caution. Which also, I guess, now that I'm on the topic, I have been, maybe this is not the video for this, I've been mulling over this for years, you guys, and sometimes I bring it up in passing. I don't know what to do with myself and my marketing, because a lot of the things that I write are Christian fiction. Very Christian fiction. It's not even pretending to be anything else. It's just very Christian fiction. But I've never specifically marketed myself toward Christian fiction because of several reasons. This is such an interesting debate in my mind that's been going on for like 10 years. Okay. Anyway, so a couple of things. One, I never wanted to put myself in that little box of Christian fiction. Not that I have anything against Christian fiction, because clearly I write it, but it definitely closes people off who don't read Christian fiction, and I never wanted to shut all those doors. But the problem with not marketing specifically Christian fiction is that I'm freaking out readers. There's something to be said for reader expectations, right? And if they're picking up my book not knowing it's Christian fiction, and then discovering very quickly that there's a lot of Jesus in it, that can cause a bit of like, you know, now they're uncomfortable, or now they're upset and angry, and now they're like, well, this is not the book that you promised me. So, you know, valid. But I've constantly been in this debate of like, I want to share this book with a wider audience than Christian fiction might reach. But if I don't say what it is, then these people will be freaked out reading it, because they'll be like, that's not the book that I was promised when I picked it up. But like, if I put the label on it, then they're never going to pick it up to start with. It's like, I don't know what to do about this. And then I think also, my readership, my biggest readership, I mean, other people have bought and read the book, but my biggest readership is at this homeschool conference. They're my biggest fans. They're the ones who read, you know, the most. They read every book that I put out. They're, you know, they're my loyal fans. Anyway, but they, like, specifically my readership right now is very, like, sheltered conservative Christian kids, which is fine, you know. I was that kid too, kind of, but like, and this is nothing against my readership. I adore them. I love them to pieces, and they support me, and they've been here, you know, since the beginning, essentially. So that, like, I have nothing against them. But when I'm actively writing the books, and then thinking about kids reading them, the kids that I'm picturing are the kids that I counsel at church camp, which sounds like it would be the same audience, but it's not. The kids that I counsel at church camp tend to be kids, you know, with parents in jail, kids from broken homes, kids with, you know, their parents have addiction issues, or the kids are in the foster care system, or, like, the kids are a mess. They're broken, and I just want to take them all in and adopt every one of them. Can't do that. But anyway, those are the kids that I am picturing when I'm writing these books. Like, those are the kids that I'm writing for, I guess you could say. And a lot of those kids, despite the fact that I meet them at church camp, most of them are there because they were dragged there, not because they want to be there. Some of them, like, actively hate God, which leads to some very interesting, you know, painful conversation. I love church camp. Okay, that's a different subject, but I really do love church camp. Anyway, these kids that are hurting are the kids that I want to bring some hope and enjoyment to, is the point. But they are also the kids that wouldn't pick up a book necessarily that says Christian fiction on it. Because it would be one more thing that they feel like, you know, they're just being forced to do. So that's been my dilemma, because those are the kids that I want reading my books, and those are the kids who wouldn't read it with a specific label on it, even though it is Christian fiction. Like, it has that label. If you look at it on, like, on Amazon, you look at, like, the tags or whatever, it's in that section. Like, it is Christian fiction. I just, like, when I'm posting about it on Instagram, I don't necessarily talk about the Christian fiction aspect very often. Or, like, when I'm talking about it here on YouTube, it's the same. Like, I don't talk about it as much. I focus more on, like, it's a Robin Hood story, you know? I don't know, man. I don't know. This has been a debate that I've been having in my head for almost 10 years, and now I'm having it out loud, so you're welcome. Feel free to give your opinions. I don't know what to do with myself. So there you go. Anyway, this always comes up for me a lot at, like, the homeschool conference, because this is essentially my, you know, ideal audience, I guess. And I have really loyal fans, and I love them, and it's great. And then I go home from this event, and then I question, like, why I'm not pushing marketing to more of these kids, because these are the kids reading my book, and, you know, like, the kids at this homeschool conference, you know, they adore me. And some of them, like, they grew up with my book. So my biggest fan, I adore her. I don't know if she watches my YouTube videos. Hi. How's it going? But she was 14 when she first started reading my books. And she's like 20 now, I want to say. So, you know, I don't know. The point I'm getting at, I guess, is that the kids at this homeschool conference have grown up with me as, you know, one of their favorite authors, and, like, every year when I come home from this, I question why I'm not pushing myself into more of these circles. Because clearly this is where my niche is. But then the other part of my brain is like, but these other kids are the ones that I was hoping to get to, you know? And I don't know if I could get to them if I'm over here. I don't know. Anyway, so I keep debating. And I don't know what to do with myself. So there you go. Welcome to the chaos that is my brain. Anyway, so yes, no, to sum up, after ranting for no reason, the conference was really good. It was actually amazing. I had a lot of people come and talk at my table, a lot of people buy books. We sold out of the first 3 Robin Hood books, which then was kind of awkward because those were the books that were drawing people to the table, and then also when people came to the table and realized that not all 5 of the books were there, then they were less likely to buy them. And it really didn't matter how many times I told them that I wrote that series so that it's the same story in every book, but told from different people's perspective. Hi, we've jumped over here because my camera battery died, and I don't have the charger and or extra batteries anymore. That's a whole thing. But anyway, yes, basically what I was getting at when the camera died is that I did write it so that technically you could read the books in the Robin Hood series in any order. It wouldn't really matter. Pick a character that's interesting to you. But it didn't matter how many times I tried to express that. People were like, if you don't have book 1, I'm not going to buy it right now. But I'll take a card, which is great. You know what? It's fine. It's lovely. But I was, when I realized that I was running out of books, I was like, let's get rid of all of them. How cool would that be? But then people were like, how about not? So then it was kind of sad. But anyway, no, it was a really good conference. We talked to a lot of people, had a blast, saw some of my, returning fans, made lots of new friends and fans. Well, I don't know if they'll be fans, but we chatted and they bought a book. So like maybe they'll be fans. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, the point is I had a blast. And yeah, sold the most books I've ever sold, made the most money I've ever made. Not that that's the point. Honestly, I go there for the returning kids because I adore them. I think that's all the updates that I have with regards to this adventure that I did not vlog. Yeah. I don't know that I'm going to be doing a lot of videos in the future because while I have a camera, apparently I don't have any batteries anymore. So I have to buy some and a charger and then wait for that to get here. So I don't know when I'll get back into filming, but you'll get this nonsense at least. Maybe I'll try to put together whatever I had for March and April. Anyway, that's not the point. Next year, we'll be back at it again. Possibly at more. Several people talked about, several vendors came over to chat and talked about other conventions that they were at this year. So now I'm compiling a list of possible adventures next year. If she'll have to wait and see what happens.